Wait a minute.
Is the lack of recognition a blockade to cooperation? If members of Congress were rewarded more by the media and the electorate for collaborating rather than quarreling, would there be more progress and more collaboration?
Look, you just do your job, one foot in front of the other every day, and you keep toiling in the fields, and eventually good things will happen. We know, and we've been in Washington long enough to know that it just takes one story to wipe everything else off the headlines for a long period of time, and everyone's attention is diverted. We're in such a world right now, but all of that will change. And there's, look, as far as the science goes, as far as medicine goes, but we're on the cusp of a transformational time. I never would have believed the sequencing of the human genome could release so much power for good. And the next 2 generations of doctors, as far as I can see, will have the ability to alleviate suffering unlike any generation of doctors has ever known. So this is pretty powerful and optimistic stuff. Now, I think we've messed the policy up pretty bad, but these kids are smart, and they've got fast computers, and they'll figure it all out at some point, right?
What did we mess up with the policy?
Oh, do you really want me to start? Well, the big thing that we're facing right now is the fiscal cliff. And, forgive me, Donna, for jumping into this, but not only do we have the fiscal cliff with tax policy expiration in December 31st and then sequester kicking in on the 2nd or 3rd of January, I forget the date, but somewhere in all of that, we're going to have this debt limit discussion again. And this time it will be without all the good feelings that were present in this town in July of 2011. That's a joke. Right. But we got to do it again. And where are you going to get the money? Speaker Boehner said before the last debt limit discussion, I have not talked about this with him, and I don't mean to speak for him, but he said last time that every dollar the debt limit's raised, there's got to be $1 in cuts in spending. So it was a one-for-one translation there, and that's, of course, what led to the super committee, which then led to the sequester. Well, if you embark onto that same sort of scenario in December, January, February of this next year, where do those additional cuts come from? Can you cut more from defense? And bear in mind, we cut $45 billion out of the discretionary budget, and another $55 billion is being cut in the sequester. It's $100 billion cut from defense. Still a dangerous world. Can we take more money? I don't think so. Can we take more from health and human services? 8% across the board discretionary cut, which means FDA gets cut, which means NIH gets cut. Can we take more from them? I don't think so. Well, where is there a large number of dollars that are actually not being currently used but are earmarked for use in the future, and that's the Affordable Care Act. Either delaying the subsidies or altering the level at which the subsidies kick in or delaying or modifying the Medicaid expansion. These are things that will have to be on the table during the next debt limit discussion, and I'm just speaking for myself, not for the conference, not for anyone in leadership, but I don't see how you get to another raising the debt limit without involving the Affordable Care Act. And that involvement of the Affordable Care Act, I think, will have to be substantial.
Now, go ahead.
But the Affordable Care Act is where we're recognizing the savings that our bill is trying to capture. And so I hope we won't be going through repealing of the Public Health Fund and trying to underfund or defund some of the programs in the Affordable Care Act, because I think this is a very important part of innovation and also lowering the healthcare costs over the long term and providing the savings that we need.
Isn't there a danger, because everyone does use different math, everybody does look for different savings. Given the makeup